there's not a shortage of topics that there is to discuss, Vin. Let's address the elephant in the room. Vince McMahon is in the headlines for all sorts of scandals. He stepped down as CEO. I gotta ask you, what are your thoughts on this? You know, the reports are that Vince McMahon was having an affair with a former paralegal on his staff, and that he was paying up to $3 million of his personal money to keep her silenced, and there's some type of no disclosure agreement involved. Vince has stepped down as CEO. Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon's daughter, is the interim CEO, and Vince seems to be cooperating with their investigation. There's an investigation going away. How big of a deal do you think this is? Because this is clearly the elephant in the room. We've seen Vince on TV a few times. I think everybody was expecting him to break character, have some sort of unscripted, break the fourth wall moment, say, I'm sorry, guys. I did something stupid, and et cetera, etc. But he didn't do that. I was expecting that too, I'm not going to lie.
Why?
I want to know your thoughts on this.
No, I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought he played it perfect. I thought he played it safe. You know what I mean? He played it exactly how somebody in his role, in his business, should play it. You know what I mean? Keep the character alive. Keep the Mr. McMahon aura alive. And then just play this tight. Play it careful. Because he really has to be careful with something like this.
Absolutely.
If they can prove in any type of way that he was trying to get her to shut up, that's the only thing he really has to avoid. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, there's really no real crime committed.
Yeah.
I can have sex with whoever I want to have sex with.
Yeah.
Especially if you're somebody like Mr. McMahon. You know what I mean? As long as the age is above, I can do whatever I please to do. So that's the one thing he just has to avoid. Avoid any way of I told her to shut up, or I told her don't talk about me in any type of way. And then he's good. He's safe. As long as he keeps it tight like he is now, I don't see it getting deep. But the trial will be going on for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you're right. I think what those who are criticizing Vince, most of their issue is, and what does make it look ugly, I will say that, is no matter who you are, and no matter what, anytime you're an owner or somebody with authority, and you're sleeping with or having sexual relations with somebody that works for you, I think no matter what the optics are looking like, if that person is to somehow say no to what you want them to do, you could punish them for it because you have power over them. And I think that's what a lot of people have an issue with, which I see that part of it as well. However, I think these things get tricky because in a world where, I'm not trying to judge the man's looks. I'm pretty sure this young lady, I don't know how old she is, but she's probably younger than him, I'm fairly certain.
Of course.
I'm sure this one young lady didn't go for Vince for his good looks and his young, fresh, stylish good looks. I'm not knocking it, and I'm not judging her.
Of course.
I'm pretty sure his power and status is a big reason why she would want to sleep with him in any way. They're alleging that it's consensual. A lot of people think when you're sleeping with somebody with authority over you, it can almost never be consensual. And I see that perspective, but at the same time, I think the lines get tricky because it's like, what if it is a situation of, okay, they just started sleeping with each other one day and, nobody was treating each other negative. It was just like kind of boyfriend, girlfriend-ish. But he just happens to work for him. I mean, those lines are tricky because it's like, you can't help people hitting it off. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but sometimes people hit it off in the same office and they just happen to be working for each other. I will say this, if anything comes out that, you know, he blackmailed her and was like, oh, if you don't do this, I will fire you, or if you don't do this, I will not give you a raise. That's corny, that's wrong, and I don't feel that way. That's corny to me. If you had to blackmail or use your authority, abuse it. That's the word. If there was any sort of abuse involved, that's wrong. But I think this will get tricky because they say it's consensual. If the girl, what if the woman admits it's consensual, and you know it gets the lines get a little blurred. But you know, anytime you know there's a boss involved, these things get tricky. You know, because they do technically have the power to. They have the leeway to abuse their power if they want to. You know.
Right. But you know why I think this won't go far? Because all that is hard to prove.
It is,
unless there's some type of, you know, cell phone tap, you know, some type of recording, something along those lines where you hear him saying, you know what I mean, you better sleep with me or your job's done.
Yeah.
Or you're out of here. Some like
text message.
Something like that. Yeah, it would have to be something like that to really get the proof of, listen, I was trying to blackmail her to get what I want from her.
Yeah.
Other than that, like how can you really even prove that, you know what I mean, he was trying to keep her in a forceful manner. You know, you see what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the non-disclosure agreement, that could be anything. That could just be Vince being a private person and saying, I don't want nobody talking about me. Because at the end of the day, Vince is someone outside of the business you really don't hear from.
You don't. If there's someone of that status, he's one of the better ones at staying out of the headlines for the most part. He's had his stuff in the past with steroids and stuff, but he mostly, for that status, stays out of
keeps it business. He keeps it business.
Yeah,
all the time. Like so obviously, he wants you not to say anything that could be personal about him. That could just be what it is. That could really just be coming down what it is. People just jumping the gun, assuming that, you know, he's telling her to keep quiet because he did something wrong. I just feel like that you're taking it too far at that point. Let's hear the evidence.
Yeah, I'll say this for the people that are just it's crazy because there's so many of these trolls that lurk and live on wrestling, sports, entertainment, internet that have been waiting for something like this to happen to Vince. Just like they were waiting for my man Mr. Samuels, rest in peace. They were waiting for something negative to happen. There's a lot of people that are sick. They were waiting for something to happen to Vince to potentially threaten his status as the boss. And, you know, those people, you know, I'm not taking sides in this matter, but I still think it's sick to just wish bad things are gonna just happen just because you don't agree with some of someone's creative decisions. But that's neither here nor there. But a lot of people are waiting for this to happen, and my thing is, no non-disclosure agreement. Let's be a little bit real here. Most millionaires and or especially billionaires, when they sleep with people or have any sort of sexual relations, it's usually either someone they're paying or someone that they do sign NDAs with. Most famous people do that. Public figures do that. Hell, I'm not trying to name drop, but a lot of rappers, they all do that. A lot of these famous guys, and you're right, it is simply because they don't want people to know their business. They don't want to know people to use who they're sleeping with against them. So there is a lot of trickiness to this. I mean, apparently she signed it according to what they're saying. We'll wait till they're saying. So for you to sign it, it must
mean it's consensual, right?
That's where my head is at.
Right.
But of course, you know, we're in an era where people will say, what if she felt obligated to decide that because that's the boss?
Well,
And
now,
that's possible.
well, now that's what you gotta prove.
Now you gotta prove what did he do to threaten you?
Threaten you
And make you feel obligated.
Right.
Well, let's you guys sleeping together in the first place.
Right.
It's just a very interesting. The timing of it and everything is just very, very interesting. I mean, you notice those conspiracy theories that Triple H and Stephanie might have planted this and wanted that and this to happen. I don't buy that. But the timing of it is very interesting, and I just think if any sort of abuse or using his authority that caused these sexual relations, I think that's awful. That's wrong. He don't need to be doing that, and I think that he would deserve the consequences. But I think just because he's the boss, everybody's assuming the worst case scenario, and that comes with the position, unfortunately.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, these conspiracies get out of hand. Why would they plant something like this when this is the person who's feeding them?
That's a fair point.
You move him out of the way. Now you're in sticky mud.
Yeah.
So I don't think that for a damn second that they're gonna plant something to try to get Vince McMahon out of the way. And you know what I mean? You can't wait a couple years? He's probably gonna be out of the way anyway.